The bigger of the two men walking along the edge of the surf was laughing and scuffing his heels in the sand. It was a cool night on the first day of fall, and the men wore dark jackets. The moon to the east was a little past full and seemed to lay a silver finger on the water off Revere Beach as the surf advanced and retreated with hisses and melancholy sighs. There was no wind. "If you could have seen him, Sally," he was saying, "I almost pissed myself. That would have made both of us. He was wearing these light pants, and suddenly I seen this big wet spot. I couldn't help it. I snorted right through my mask." The smaller man chuckled appreciatively, but all he wanted was to go home. It was past 2:30, and he had an appointment at 8 the next morning to look at a greyhound puppy. A guaranteed champion, he'd been told. "He didn't even notice what he'd done. Jesus, you piece of shit," I told him. "Look what you done to yourself. Didn't you have a mommy?" The smaller man chuckled again. His name was Sal Procopio, and he was 26. The guy with him, Frank, was a little older. Sal didn't know Frank's last name, or rather he'd heard Frank give several, all of them French, so maybe he was a Canuck. For that matter, Sal didn't even know if the guy's first name was really Frank, so maybe that was phony as well. In fact, the longer he knew Frank, the less he knew him, as if each new fact took away a piece of knowledge instead of adding to the small amount already accumulated. Sal wasn't sure how he felt about this. Frank laid an arm across Sal's shoulder, squeezing the muscle. With his other hand, he accompanied his story, spreading his fingers or closing them into a fist. "But hey, I didn't have a lot of time. The longer you're inside, the bigger chance you take. You hear what I'm saying? What if a cop had wandered in? It could be anybody. Some alky wanting another drink. The chicken shits are worse than the tough guys. They don't fucking move. This guy just stood there and pissed himself. 'What's wrong?' I tell him. 'Ain't you seen a gun before?' Asshole in a liquor store. You'd think he was a virgin. These guys get stuck up all the time." Sal tried to keep his feet out of the water, but Frank kept bumping him. Although the tide was going out, every so often a large wave sent the foam right up to his basketball shoes. The two men were walking south. Few people were visible, some couples making out, but no one nearby. Sal had brought girls to Revere a few times when he was a kid, but he didn't like getting sand in his jockey shorts, and he didn't like being seen. People knew what you were doing. Even under a blanket, they could tell what was going on. If you couldn't afford a motel, then you had no business with a girl in the first place. That was how he saw it. Frank gave his shoulder another squeeze. So I'd tell him to get a move on. I should never have been friendly in the first place. "We're closing in 10 minutes, he says. His back was to me and he hadn't seen the mask, so I put the barrel against his ear, smacking him a little so I could hear the clunk against his skull, and I asked him as sweet as I could, 'You ever seen one of these?' He cut his eyes toward it, and I cocked it. That little double click. It's almost like music. That's when he pissed himself. Jesus, I laughed." Sal tried to laugh as well, but it ended up more like a grunt. He'd been out in the car ready to take off at the first sign of trouble, even though he'd sworn to wait. This was their 4th job together, and Sal wanted out. In the morning, he'd get this greyhound pup, train him, and make a bundle. It was honest work, pretty much. His only worry was that Frank would get mad when he said he didn't want to drive anymore. He'd seen Frank's temper in a bar about 2 weeks earlier. Frank hadn't been drinking, but that only made it scarier, that he'd tried to beat a guy to death, cold sober. If he hadn't been pulled off, Frank would have killed the guy, just beaten his head in with the pool cue. And what had the guy done, for Pete's sake? Called him a loony when Frank got mad and threw down his cue? $5 on the game, and Frank was ready for the slammer. Shit, Sal had been called worse than that, a whole lot worse. Frank stepped away as another wave came up the beach. The foam glittered and slid toward them. But the kid wouldn't do shit. He wouldn't get the money and wouldn't budge. A red light on the video camera kept blinking, so I grabbed his hair and shoved the pistol right into his mouth so it jams against his tonsils. "You've got 2 seconds, I told him. No way was he going to fuck with me, piss or no piss. He straightened up, though he was bawling, nodding and gagging all at once. At least he emptied the cash register. "How much?" "A couple of grand or more. We'll count it out.